Boots to Business is an entrepreneurial education initiative offered by the U.S. Small Business Administration, or the SBA, as an elective track within the Department of Defense's revised training assistance program called Transition Goals, Plans, Success, or Transitions GPS, a mandatory program for outgoing servicemen. The curriculum provides valuable assistance to transitioning service members exploring self-employment business opportunities by leading them through the key steps for evaluating business concepts and the foundational knowledge required for developing a business plan. Participants are also introduced to SBA resources available to help access startup capital and additional technical assistance. There are 3 steps to completing the Boots to Business program. First, the Entrepreneurship Track Overview, which is a 10-minute introductory video shown during the 5-day Transitions GPS course. Next, they go through the Introduction to Entrepreneurship, a 2-day classroom course offered as one of the 3 transitional GPS elective tracks. Lastly, the Foundations of Entrepreneurship, an 8-week instructor-led online course that offers in-depth instruction on the elements of a business plan and tips and techniques for starting a business. Veterans are overrepresented in entrepreneurship. In 2010, there were 1.3 million veteran entrepreneurs, which accounted for 12.5 working veterans. By contrast, in 2010, the entrepreneurship rate for non-veterans was 9.6%. The 5-year average entrepreneurship rate was 13.5% among veterans and 9.9% among non-veterans, meaning veterans were over a third more likely to be entrepreneurs than non-veterans. If those numbers don't speak for themselves, other factors have increased the popularity of government-funded programs for veterans. The controversy over proper health care and hospitals for veterans being an especially hot topic these days. Boots to Business is operated by the Small Business Association, the SBA, in partnership with Syracuse University. Both teams have provided materials and instructors with many years of experience and expertise in entrepreneurship. Some of the instructors work full-time as professors, while others consider themselves full-time businessmen. They have been fully funded with a $2 million grant provided by the U.S. government. In April 2015, they will be defending the program in Congress with hopes of receiving another grant to continue the program.
It's Clay Crocker. I'm a trainer for Boots to Business. I run the 2-day course, mostly in Asia and in Europe. 2 days of going through 8 different modules, and I'm one of the instructors. There's always 2 instructors facilitating it, and it's sort of the fire hose approach to this kind of instruction, and then that leads into the 8-week online course, which is, so I said 8 modules for the 2-day course. The 8 weeks, then that is essentially them going a lot deeper on each of the modules. If you're familiar with Coursera, or I would imagine a lot of the other online platforms, it's very similar to that in that they offer, there's office hours with the instructor, and there are the video, tend to be 15 or so minute video tutorials on there as well. So that's about the extent of it, as far as I know. They could definitely use it better. I think I've watched some of the video tutorials. They're okay, equal, on the same level as those Coursera courses. And they need to make it more collaborative. Actually, find a way to use technology to help the sort of peer learning, and for them to motivate each other and whatever else. Overall, I have to say yes or no. I'm going to say no. I think it is too academic at this point. But what we'd like to say is you'll come out with a fairly tight business plan. Okay, after the 8 weeks, you should, if you do your work. They got from my vantage point, they could still do that. They could still come out with a pretty good business plan and do a whole lot more during the 8 weeks. So I think it should be more getting out there in the community. The assignments, whereas there's a lot of reading, and a lot of market research, but I feel like it should be more hands-on. It should be more, they should find a way to make it more collaborative. And the biggest thing I would say is that it needs to. There's a good book out there, The Startup of You. Okay, that the writer of it's the creator of LinkedIn. They need to make it more about self-marketing, about sort of transforming yourself into a personal startup, as opposed to having a business idea and writing a conventional business plan. Because in a lot of cases, that's sort of defunct at this point. That whole concept is sort of out of date, in my opinion. Competitors, there's the Kauffman Foundation is a really based in Kansas City, really deep-pocketed organization that puts on programs like this. They have one that's based in Wisconsin right now. It's hard to find much of what they actually do, but it looks very similar to what we're doing. Instead of 2 days for the face-to-face, it's 3 days, and they actually have a more like performance-based finale at the end of that 3 days, which personally I think would be a good thing for us. Yeah, so that is the metric that they're going to have to present to Congress, as far as the more kind of qualitative areas. But the metric is what percentage of the people who start the 8-week, actually finish it. So as far as the people that go through the 2-day program, I'd say it's about 75 or 80% that actually join the 8-week program. Okay, but for the 8-week, the ones who finish it right now is hovering at about 40 or 50%. There's more sort of transparency between so certain professors or instructors of the 8-week course are really getting after it, sort of going the extra mile to make develop a personal relationship with their students, even if there is 50 or 60. Those, they have higher rates. Okay, they're at 50 or 60%, while the ones who are just sort of maybe doing the bare minimum or just kind of going through the motions, they're at about 20 or 30. So I think they are on the right track. Is that the same way that Google is prides itself on being a company for engineers, by engineers, of engineers? Entrepreneurs are not. They may be creative, but they're not creative as with educational technology. They're creative in doing their own thing, right? Problem there is that you've got these impressive people who even maybe Ivy League professors at Cornell or wherever or Syracuse, but they're not. The fact that they're great entrepreneurs does not mean that they have a passion for creating curriculum that actually works, and especially curriculum that works in 2014.
The Boots to Business program and programs like it, which provide service to veterans, are undoubtedly important to American society. It's clear that some work needs to be done to create an online program that is more innovative and relevant to the way people connect and communicate in today's age of constant online interaction. They have a good network of people, but seem to have problems focusing on the best way for their participants to learn. A main issue may be that they do not currently employ an educational technologist or instructional designer to assist in the content curation. The organization is more focused in a get out there and do it approach, while turning their noses up to creating an online presence through Twitter, Facebook, and blogging, which has caused them to lose potentially great numbers of participants. With the right leadership or people dedicated enough to the program and curriculum, the online program has potential to raise their success rate greatly and be a leader in the emerging market for online education.